Welcome back to my channel. So if you've been here for a while, you may have seen this shawl before, and today I am here to show you how to knit an asymmetrical shawl. I created this one using my magic knot ball, and I've got a tutorial for that in my tutorial playlist. But for the sake of this video, I will be using one ball of yarn. So all you need is a ball of yarn and the size needles that coincide with whatever weight you want to use, and I will show you guys how to get started. Alright, so here we are with the ball of yarn and my knitting needles. I'm using, I believe this is Malabrigo worsted, and it's a worsted weight. I'm actually going to use a size 9 knitting needle. I like to go up a size on drapey projects like shawls, just to give it a little more movement. But you can use whatever yarn you'd like. If you're using a worsted, you could go with an 8 or a 9 US needle. Usually if I do a fingering weight yarn, I like to do my shawls on a number 6 US needle. But anyway, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And there's lots of different ways you can make an asymmetrical shawl, so this is just one of them. But I start with 5 stitches. So we're gonna make a slip knot. And if you don't know how to do that, to make a slip knot, we twist the yarn and then we bring it up through the loop or through the hole, and there's your slip knot. So I'm going to go ahead and put my needle through the slip knot, and you want 5 stitches on your needle, so that's going to count as the first one. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. You might want to leave a little bit of a longer tail than I did. I just have a habit of using short strands for my tail. I don't like to waste yarn. But after we've got 5 stitches on the needle, that looks like 2, but it's not. Okay, so there's 5 stitches on the needle. We're going to turn, and on that first row, this is just going to be a 2-row repeat, so it's so super simple. But on that first row, you're going to knit across to the last stitch. So I'm going to go ahead, whoops, if I can get it without pulling my tail through. There's the first one, and I'm going to give my tail a little pull so that it doesn't come undone. But there's the first stitch. There's the second one. 3, 4. And now that we're to that last stitch, you're going to knit it through the front and back. That's going to create an extra stitch. So we're going to go in through the front just as if to knit, pull it through, but instead of sliding it off the needle, you're going to go ahead and lift a little bit, come in through the back of that same stitch, grab another strand of yarn and pull it through, and then you slide it off. That has created an extra stitch. So now you've got 6 stitches on the needle. Now we're going to turn, and here's where you can change things up if you want to. When you create your increase on this side, you can either do a yarn over, which will create a row of eyelets, or you can just do another knit into the front and back. But I like to knit the first 2 stitches. There's the first 2, And now you just want to create another increase right here. So you could either do, like I said, the knit into the front and back, which will keep it more solid and you won't have any gapping or any holes, or you can just do a yarn over and that makes an extra stitch. I'm going to do a yarn over this time, and you just take the yarn and wrap it over your right hand needle, and that's it. You see you've already added another stitch. And then you just knit across to the last 2 stitches, which is right here, and we're going to knit both of those together through the back loop and slide it off. Now you've still got 6 stitches because on this row we increased 1 on this end and we also decreased 1 on this end. So it kept the number even. Okay, on the other side, when we turn again, this is where we're going to knit across to the last stitch and knit it through the front and back loop. And so on this side, we're only increasing on the last stitch. So we're going to go ahead and knit across again. And that's it, guys. You just keep repeating these 2 rows over and over. And see, right here's where we had our yarn over. You're just going to knit that. If you had done a knit into the front and back there, you would have just knit both of those stitches. Okay, we're to our last stitch. We're going to knit it through the front and back. And come around and come right through here. And slide it off, and now you should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gonna turn it again. You're gonna knit the first 2 stitches. There's 1, 2. Create your increase, and I'm doing the yarn over. Then I'm going to knit across to the last 2 stitches. And we're going to knit both of those through the back loop. So on this side, once again, we've increased 1 right here, and we're decreasing. So that keeps it even, and you'll still have 7 stitches. This is just going to give it some extra shaping and give it more of that asymmetrical look. Look, you can already see the eyelets forming. That just gives it a nice little detail. So I'm going to turn it again. I'll do it one more time with you guys. And at the end of the video, after these 2 rows, I will show you a shawl that I completed that has the eyelets on the edge. Oops. Almost didn't have the yarn in the right position. Okay, once again, we've got 7 stitches. So on this row, we're going to knit all the way across to the last stitch. There's that yarn over, we're just going to knit it. And then we're going to knit through the front and the back. Let's see what it looks like on the back side. Now we're going to have 8 stitches. And if you want to keep track of which row you increase, it's a double increase basically, because you're increasing on this side and you're increasing on this side. And then on this side, you're only doing a decrease on one side. So when you look at it like this, you can see it's forming a little triangle. a little asymmetrical triangle, and you can see the eyelets are coming along on this edge. So you know this is the end where the increases take place. And when you look at it like this and you see that this is the straight edge, you know that this is the edge that you only decrease on one side. So we'll turn it again. I hope that makes sense, guys. And on this side, like I said, we're going to increase again, and then here's where we'll do our decrease. So we know we're going to increase since we've got eyelets here coming along this edge. So we're going to knit the first two, do the yarn over again to create another eyelet, knit across to the last 2 stitches, and you can pull down on this to give yourself more room to get the needle in, and then we're going to knit these 2 through the back loop together. And that's really all there is to it. You just keep repeating, and it just keeps growing and growing until you get the length you want. Let me go get the other shawl that I did, and I will show you guys what it looks like when you've got a row of eyelets on that end, on that one side. So here's another shawl that I did as a stash buster. I was getting rid of some extra yarns that I had laying around. This is my year for stash busting, guys. But anyway, this is what it looks like doing these colors together. And then let me show you, if we can get to a point where you don't really see the yarn I carried up the edge, I want to just show you what the eyelets look like. So I haven't blocked this shawl yet, but you can kind of see the eyelets. This is the end I started at. Yeah, and so the eyelet edge goes all the way up. And like I said, I just don't like how I carried the yarn up that edge. But ignore that strand there and look at the little eyelets that come along the edge here. Let me show you my other shawl, the one that I showed you in the beginning, and it was done without the eyelets. Once again, this shawl has not been blocked either, but you can see how there's no eyelets on the edge of this one. It just looks like solid garter stitch to the edge. So either way works, and there are lots of other ways that you can make asymmetrical shawls. But I hope that this little tutorial helped you guys, and that you can get out there and create your shawls, whether you do it with a magic knot ball like this and do some stash busting, or whether you decide to just go for a solid color. Either way will look beautiful. I mean, both of these were stash busters, and I've always loved the look of an asymmetrical shawl. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. There are a lot more tutorials coming, and I've got a playlist I've started where I'm sharing my tutorials. I've got the one for the magic knot ball, and I've also got a tutorial up for how to knit the mitered square blanket. So I will see you guys again in the next video. Happy knitting! Bye!